Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Welcome to today's activity call. Celine here from President's Club. We are live here in beautiful, cold Burlington, North Carolina. We are super fired up to hear what Andy Albright has to tell us today. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce Andy Albright, our President and CEO, El Capitan.
Celine, let me those leaderboards. That El Capitan thing.
Yes, sir.
So do you speak another language, or is that you just copy in Lucero, or how does that work?
I speak Spanish.
You do?
Yes.
Do you have some kind of a Spanish heritage?
So
whatever?
my mom is white, my dad is Hispanic from Mexico.
What does white mean? Where's he from?
Caucasian. She's from America.
Your mama?
Yeah, she was born in Burlington.
Nuh-uh.
Uh-huh.
Burlington girl.
That's right.
Yeah, you're gonna marry a Burlington girl. All right, good deal. El Capitan, Epicantenis, or whatever the other way to go. I'll be calm. Okay, so coming to the end of the year, it's December 20th, winter solstice. Winter solstice is upon us. That means it's the beginning of winter, shortest day of the year. Okay, we want to talk about, here's the deal. I'm talking to James Hill, Kyle Cater, Chris Hill, Robbie Kraft, Paul Roberts. I'm talking to the people that are really, really desperate to build a team and change lives and get big. This is crazy psychology stuff that some of us do naturally and not even aware of what we're doing. I'm trying to articulate it so that you can easier copy what I'm doing. Okay? So the question is, what everyone should know about winners? Like if they said, Kyle's winning, Andy Riddle's winning. How do you become a winner? So we've put a lot of work in this. Jeff Bright, myself, and our graphics team have put together these slides. I don't know what's your plan. Do you want to pop them up? Like what everyone should know about winners? How you want to do that? Okay. Can it make it? Is it possible to? Is there a plus sign to make it a little bit bigger, or is that? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Nice. Okay. It's more about support and less about talent. For some of you and myself, that's good news because you're not necessarily a genius and you're not necessarily super talented, but the opportunity that's put in front of you and the support may be more about the opportunity and support and less about the talent. Because people say things like, I'm not good, I'm stupid, I'm not that smart. Great news, it's more about the support and the opportunity. So the lower you put yourself, Kyle and Chris, and you talk about the support and the opportunity, which if y'all notice, I do that a lot. Some of y'all arrogant a-holes don't do that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm sorry for being so blunt, but you know what I'm saying? You act like you're so smart and you screw up the deal. It makes other people feel like they can't do it because you emphasize your smarts and you don't emphasize the support and the opportunity. You understand me? Like y'all literally do that. And some of you don't know you do it. And I could go like, let me tell you how you do it, Timmy and Tiny and Toddy. I don't want to call their names because I want to call their names. I know when they do it. It's just annoying as everything. That's why I'm always like, dude, I'm a redneck from Union Ridge. This opportunity is unbelievable. Our system, the support. If you look at the time I put on that and the time I put on me, but people go, I sell like this, I say this in the house, I do, when I'm going like, bro, watch how Brant does it. Watch how Debbie Ben does it. Watch how hard Debbie works. You with me? Like like if I could measure you and put a percentage on you as talking about the support and the system and the opportunity and the alliance as opposed to who you are. And people go like, they can't figure out why people don't stay at their hot spot. They don't stay at the hot spot because they ain't good enough. Because you convince them the reason you're good is because you're good. It's not because of the sport. It's not because of the alliance. It's not because of the help and the guidance. It's all about you. Does that make sense? They sell it. They sell on how good they are, and not how good the system is. They go, copy me, I'm great. Copy me, I'm great. And I'm like, we got to talk about the system. We got to talk about the fact that that Adam Katz is with us, and you can't get Adam Katz anywhere in the world.
That's right.
Does that mean you can be good anywhere in the world, but you can't get Adam Katz? Talk about the things that are excluded. Anyway, all right, I could talk about that a while. Okay, so listen to me. We got to remember, this is right out of Malcolm Gladwell's book. It's called Outliers. The Story of Success. Okay, I'm holding the book up. You can get it. It's called Outliers, The Story of Success, Malcolm Gladwell. He's the guy that wrote Tipping Point Blank. Okay, he said, the tallest oak in the forest is the tallest oak not because it was a great acorn, but because no other trees block the sunlight. In other words, if it was tiny and the big trees were already there, then it would have never got big. But if there were no trees there and it got up ahead of everything, it become great. Does that make sense? It's kind of like a head start. The soil around the acorn was deep and rich. No rabbit chewed through the bark when it was a baby tree. And then when it got bigger, no lumberjack cut it down. Does that make sense? So where is it that the seed is great? Well, first of all, it's got to be a great seed to get great. But just because it's a great seed don't mean it's going to get great. So think about this, Kyle. If you hire people, you want a great seed. But there's 3 reasons that a great seed won't make it. Does that make sense? And then let me tell you something. What if the seed ain't that great, but it gets up above the other trees, it's got deep, rich soil, and no rabbit chewed on it, and no lumberjack cut it down? You could take somebody like me that might not be the greatest seed in the world. Might be a 5 foot, almost 11 foot inch, 5 foot 11 inch, normal, ordinary Caucasian, as my girl said, a Burlington boy. Does that make sense? Like I don't have to be the greatest thing in the world if the soil is deep and rich. You with me? In other words, I was thinking about if you're around a lot of people that are full of crap, you know what I mean? Because you think about manure makes good soil. So if you put like a manure, if you got good manure people around you, that's rich. Everybody knows manure makes rich soil, right? You see what I'm saying? Think about that, Will. The coaches that you were around, some of them were full of you know what. And you learned a lot from them, didn't you? Because if they were just normal, you wouldn't listen to them. Because they're so full of crap, you listen to them, and then you become a great football player. It's kind of crazy, ain't it? All right, so the whole thing, the analogy in the Malcolm Gladwell is the tree thing. All right, I want to read a little bit to you. I just like the way he writes. People don't rise from nothing. We owe something to parentage and patronage. Who's your mom and daddy, and what did you get given to you when you were growing up? Right? Think of a million stories. Yeah. God. Trying not to tell about another story. Okay. The people who stand before kings may look like they did it all by themselves, but always, invariably, they are beneficiaries of hidden advantages and extraordinary opportunities and cultural legacies that let them learn to work hard and, listen to this one, and make sense out of the world in ways that others can't. Albright makes sense out of the world. I want to help James Hill to make sense out of the world. I want to help Paul Van Thoff to make sense out of the world. I want to give him culture. I want to give him a chance. I want to give him the manure, the soul, the richness. You with me? Invariably, you are beneficiaries of somebody. You take a guy that's great on one team, you put him on another team, and he's mediocre. Because invariably, the culture of one team and the assistants on the other team are not as good as the assistants and the culture on this team. So you could take a great seed, put it in sand, put it in water, and you will produce not even a little bitty sapling. You can take a mediocre seed and pull it in full of dookie, give it plenty of warmth and sunlight and some water, and that sucker make you a tree, baby. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You see the analogy? Am I working with you here? All right. The culture we belong to and the legacies passed down by our forebears shape the patterns of our achievement that we can't even imagine. So my deal in engineering at NC State, my deal in Amway, and then, my deal with Chris. How long you been here, Chris?
10 years.
10 years. You being around me, you being around your pastor, you being around your church, you reading the Bible, you being around Robbie Kraft, you being around Preston Sockwell for the last 10 years is massive. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? It's just massive. What could happen to you in the next 10 years? Handy, you follow what I'm saying? It's that environment. Okay, listen to this. It's not enough to say what are successful people like. It's what you need to ask is where are they from? And what happened to them to create success? Okay? So biologists talk about the ecology of a tree. The tallest oak in the forest is the tallest, not just because it grew from the hardiest acorn. It's the tallest because no other trees blocked its sunlight. The soil was deep and rich. No rabbit chewed through his bark. No lumberjack cut it down before its time. Okay. All right. Let's go to the, let's go right here. All right. The sunlight that warmed them, the soil in which they put down roots, and the rabbits and the lumberjacks. Okay? So, if they were under a rock, that ain't gonna work. If they were in a river, that ain't gonna work. If they were in sand, that ain't gonna work. If the rabbits got a hold of them, that ain't gonna work. If a lumberjack's got around on them. So what is the sunlight in this business that you provide at your hotspot? What is the manure? What is the soil? What is the deep roots? What do we do at the hotspots that provides that? How do we keep people from getting cut down by the lumberjacks? How do we keep people when they're babies and they're just starting out? How do we get them look, a big old tree, big around, you can't even hug around it. A rabbit ain't gonna chew it up. But when that thing's about 3 inches high, a rabbit can chew it up. Does that make sense? A baby tree can be took out. Marissa, are you tracking on this? A baby can be took out. A staff person, we hire you, hourly rate, salary rate, you come in here, you could quit in the first week because you're a baby in the system. But once you've been here a while, about anything can happen, a storm can happen, and you fight through it. How do we get them? Now, by the way, lumberjack take out a solid tree. Does that make sense? Yep. Y'all tracking how we're talking here? Okay. Sunlight warmed them up. Last one seems like luck, don't it? Mm-hmm. Lucky a rabbit didn't eat the tree. Okay, what about this? What if I planted the tree? What if it's one of them Asian persimmon trees I got out at the farm? Well, first of all, we don't plant one of my Asian persimmon trees underneath other trees. We plant it out in the open where it can get sun. And second of all, we put chains around it and wire fence around it to keep the animals away from it. And we spray pesticide on it to keep stuff from eating it, the bugs from eating all the leaves off. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's called a higher power. A higher power influences the effects of this chosen tree. Does that make sense? Like we pick that tree and we plant it here. How do we pick it? Well, we go to the nursery and we look at them and we go, that one looks like that one ought to make it. Like if you're in a restaurant and you're looking around, you'd be like, oh God, that one I can't make it. You with me? Does that make sense? Like I don't think, you know, we could put him in a box of manure and put sunlights on him and spray mist the water and it ain't gonna grow. You with me? On the other hand, you see Chris and Courtney Long sitting there at the Japanese restaurant like Andy Riddle did, and you say, how y'all doing? Oh, nice to meet you. That dog will hunt. That seed will grow. That boy will make it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then you take that seed and you keep the rabbits away, you keep the water to it, you get the soil deep and rich. Now, how does that work? This is how we build a massive organization. And I know how I do it. Like I know what I'm doing with Sean Boone, I'm doing my son-in-law, I know what was done with me, I know what I'm trying to do with this Kevin guy that we're working with. Like I got a plan. I want this tree to be big and rich. Does that make sense? Not to be confused with the country music people, big and rich. Okay. All right, so I'm going to try to explain to you how this works. No, I'm going to explain to you. After this, your life is done. You don't even have to think about it, Kyle. Did your business just grow? Wouldn't that be crazy if I could just tell you the answers? But you know, here's what I tell people. I got 2 or 3 of these big safes now, big as this cabinet behind me. Can you go back to the screen? Is that possible? And then when we come back, we're going to go to one down. Okay. I got safes as big as this cabinet right here. And big old dials, and you turn it. And what you do is you turn it and turn it and turn it to the right until you get on a number. 33 is the first number, okay? Then you got to go, what? What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with it.
It's 33. Okay, and then you go back to the left. And there's another number that you got to stop on, but you got to go past that number twice and then stop on it. Then you go to the right, and there's another number you got to go by twice and then stop on it. And then there's a number that you go back one time, and then you go, whoosh. I guarantee you, I could get Preston Sockwell to write it out, just like he does the definition of our contest. I could get Paul Roberts to hug you and whisper in your ear. I could get Andy Riddle to draw it out on a whiteboard. I could get Robbie Kraft to do it up in front of you, and I'll bet you $2 million you can't open it as long as you got 100,000 bet against me. I go $2 million to 100,000. You can't open that safe. It's crazy. It is so freaking simple. But what you have to do is try, and then what? And then if I show you, I'll be like, look, I know what it says. Let me show you. I show you, and then you try it, and then I go like, no, stop. That way, you can get it open. And then once you've done it 2 or 3 times, it's pretty easy. Yeah. But like if I went in there and did it right now, I ain't guarantee you I'd open it the first time, but I'd be like, dadgummit! And then I'd redo it again real quick, and I'd get it right. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to tell you is more complicated than opening up a safe, but it's as simple as opening up the safe. It's that simple. And it works for any fool, any numbnuts, any jacknut. You with me? I ain't got in trouble for saying that now. I found one person's offended by that. I don't know if it's going to be 2 people offended by it, but I know that other word got me real offended. I got in big trouble over that, right? So I can't use that stuff. I grew up saying stuff that apparently I can't say as an adult. Apparently nobody can really say some of that stuff anymore. Some snowflake will melt for sure when you say them words. You know, so any numbnut could, see, when they said that in that Geico commercial, even a caveman could save money or something like that, I'm like, even a caveman could do this with instructions, okay? So there's 2 different people we're talking about. There's you being the nut, you being the seed, you being the future tree, and then there's them, the people you hire. You want to take care of you, and then you want to grow your group. You with me? So first there's you. If you die, there's no group. If you survive and there's no group, you're a lonely salesperson. Does that make sense? And if you get them up to about medium size and then they die, get them up to medium size and they die, get them up to medium size and they die, It's very annoying. People get, I know a couple guys, they're extremely frustrated. I hope they're listening to this. They get them up, they get them right 2 or 3 outs and they die. They get them up 2 or 3 outs and they die. It's the same as getting trees up to 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches, and they get eat. They get ate. They get died. They get not watered. You with me? Big animal comes on, pees on them, and drowns them. You with me? You planted it in a cow pasture too near the barn where the joker pees. You ever hear like a cow peeing on a rock? Have you ever heard that? It's raining like a cow peeing on a rock. Does that make sense? No? That'll flood a plant up. It'll flood him out. Does that make sense? Y'all, I'm gonna take y'all to a farm. We're gonna go to a farm, and I'm gonna say, see that right there? That's the kind of crap right there that'll make a plant not grow. You see that right there, them goat poop? That'll make it grow right there. Them little round balls, poo, baby, goat poop make stuff grow, man. Stuff got nitrogen in it and all kinds of good stuff that plants need. You understand what I'm telling you? People are the same way. They need the nutrients, they need the right amount of water, they need the right amount of warmth, they need all that stuff. And it's the same thing when you're spinning the safe around, you know, and unlocking the safe. We should do it. Hey, make a note, Jack. We should do a video of me opening that safe. We should go out there, the different safes I've got. I've got 3 or 4 big ones. Don't show them what's in there. But you know what? When you open the safe, you get the good stuff. You with me? You learn how to open it. All right. So let's talk about the sunlight and the warmth. That's the next slide. Okay. I'm hesitant to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But I'm going to tell you. I'm going to take a risk. Okay. Juvenile delinquents. You don't want kids to be a disaster. You don't want small plants to die that you want to grow. A plant that you want to grow, you don't want it to die. A kid, a new agent, you want him to grow, and you don't want him to die, right? Okay. With people like that, there was a guy, and this is Jeff Bright telling me this. There's this guy named Thomas Hinsche or something like that. Hinsche. And he came up with these 4 things that we need to do to kids to keep them from being a disaster. And it's funny, I know all this stuff from reading thousands of books, from talking to rich people, from listening to my daddy, from listening to my mama, listening to my uncle, and discerning. I've heard all this stuff before, but not heard it like this. Now I'm telling you, a lot of y'all ain't heard this. People, here's one for you. You know how you know people need encouragement? Because they're breathing. If they're breathing, they need encouragement. But yet, people, I go, how you know a plant is needing water? You see how it's withered up and curled over to the side? It needs the water. And it's funny how people can't tell when a plant needs water. There'll be a puddle around it. Hey, think all the water? You see the puddle around it? No water, puddle. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's the same thing with people. A person will be depressed and some joker will slap him. He'll be down and somebody tell him he's an idiot. You see what I'm saying? That would be like taking a plant that's withered and putting a sunlight over top of it. That's what they do. They do the opposite of what the plant needs. They do the opposite of what the person needs. They're needing encouragement and they give them the 3 stupid things they did lately. As opposed to encourage. Does that make sense? Okay, so this guy, he said, here's the 4 things that we got to do. Then the 4 things, the two of them is attachment and commitment. Go to the next slide. And external involvement and internal belief. Go back. So these are the 4 things you need to do. So if you look at the sunlight, which is the opportunity, plants have an opportunity to grow when the sun's shining. Tomorrow is the shortest day of the year, which means plants will have 7 hours and 49 minutes to grow. Not 8 hours, not 9 hours. Does that make sense? Yeah. So in your life, you have opportunities to grow. Like for example, there will be people who come to this office today and not network. They will not ask questions. They will let sunlight pass without growing. A big tree has to grow when the sun's shining. Does that make sense? Like when the sun's shining, you got to make hay. You ever heard that? Got to make hay, the sun's shining. You ever heard this? Out of the bed, onto your feet. Out of the shade and into the heat. You can't get rich laying around. Young people, old people, broke people, sleep in 8, 9, 10 o'clock, 7:30. Like, what the heck? Sun's shining, Bo. You got to make hay. Let's go. Does that make sense? Rich people get after it. It's crazy. Some rich people stay up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then get up at 6. And some rich people go to bed at 9 and they get up at 6. I don't know, no rich people sleep late. Does that make sense? You know why? Because you got to grow when the sun's shining. I just don't know any that sleep. You go, I thought the idea was get rich and sleep late. Well, me too. I'll be honest with you. That's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. So that's discouraging. Dude, you understand when you wake up in Italy, when you wake up with a cause, when you wake up with excitement, you wake up to see your friends, you wake up with opportunities, you wake up with a chance to gain, you got to wake up with a chance to win a national championship, you don't sleep. And then after you win a national championship, then you got an opportunity to do interviews. When you win American Idol, you got an opportunity to travel. Does that make sense? The sunshine coming up means you need to get up. And I don't make these rules up. I don't make the rules of Mother Nature and biology and all that stuff. I don't make those rules. I'm just telling you how it works in nature, and I'm telling you how it works with people. That makes nature and nurture. I'm telling you, nurture and nature matters. It goes together. Here's the way it works. And Jeff Bright, Dr. Caracas Watkins, Tim Goad, that's all. This is the way this stuff works. Okay. There's 4 D's that destroy juveniles. There's 4 D's that destroy agents. If you want to fix the 4 D's, you come in with the 4 bonds. So the 4 bonds are attachment, commitment, external involvement, and internal. Now, if I had to do this slide over, my guy killed it. Go back up. See that dysfunction and deviation? See that at the bottom? That'll kill an agent. That'll kill a tree. It'll kill a bird. It'll kill anybody. Dysfunction, deviation. Scroll down. I do the other 4 Ds. Distraction and detractors. If you get rid of those 4 Ds and you create the 4 bonds, they will stay with you forever and they'll get rich. Does that make sense? I'm telling you, this is the 4 things that I'm trying to do with Marcus Richardson. I'm trying to do it with Danny and Lori Johnson. You with me? With Marcus and Carla. I'm trying to give Marcus and Carla. I'm trying to give Debbie Ben. I'm thinking of people I'm hiring. I'm trying to give Ethan Dewar. I'm going, come here, Ethan. Let's get rid of the D's and let's lock up the bonds, baby. Woo! Let's bring on the sun. Let's bring on the water. Let's bring on the warmth. Let's bring on the manure. You with me? Okay, so go back up. Let's talk about what the sunlight is. All right. Attachment causes and contributes to conformity. Okay? So what I try to do, put in like me. Does that make sense? If I can get you to like me, that will contribute to your conformity. Does that make sense? Attachment. If I can get you to attach to me, you'll assimilate, you'll wear the same clothes, you'll talk like I talk, you'll walk like I walk, and you will conform. And then you'll have peer pressure. Does that make sense? That's why liking you, that's why I tell people, you know why he didn't come to me? Because he didn't like you. How do you know that? Because he didn't stay. Does that make sense? Now look, you try to judge people. You're like, this guy's going to make it or this one's not. That's like judging a seed. Is the seed going to make it? Is the seed not going to make it? Depends on how you treat the seed. But if it's not a great seed, if it's a seed, it's going to grow. So you could take the dumbest of dumb and make them the richest of rich. You can make the most pitiful of pitiful. Give me on the screen again. I want to try to say this. Me. I'm sorry. All right. Is it too much to ask that? Okay. All right, watch this. You and them. If you want to become a big tree, make yourself do the 4 bonds. What's your name? Viviana. Viviana, if you want to make yourself you do the 4 bonds. That'll get you away from the distractors. If you want to help him, get the bonds on him and get him away from the distractors. But we could do, man, Jesus, wouldn't this be crazy? What if somebody heard what I was saying? Marissa, what if you got it? What's that girl's name? Catherine? Catherine. Is that it? Catherine. Wouldn't that be crazy if you got it? And you could just all of a sudden start putting people into 4 bonds, and then you could get them away from the 4 detractors, and then that tree would grow like crazy.
That's right.
That's the whole concept. First, get you in the 4 bonds that this guy come up with to solve problems for juvenile delinquents, and then that eliminates your distractors. Then you get other people to bond. Hello. So what do people like? They like people that are upbeat. They like people that are energetic. You have people that'll be moping around and go, "This is just the way I am. I'm Eeyore's cousin. I'm naturally pitiful and stupid. Numb nuts." You with me? And I go like, "How do you think I feel?" You don't know how I feel. All you know is I go like this. Woo! That's all you know. All you do is base it on the evidence. You don't know. You don't know what I'm dealing with. You don't know if my cat died. My best friend died. Well, not my best friend. One of my best friends died this week. What do you want me to do? Roll up the ball. I'm going to the funeral. I talked to his son. I've checked to help him with his business. I'm going to do all I can. But I ain't going to try to bring you down. You might be having a bad day. You might be withering up, and I put a hot screen on you. You might be crying, and I pour water on you. Does that make sense? My job is to look at the plants and do what the plants need. You with me? Got to have some showers. Got to have some sun. Got to have some manure. You tracking with me on this? Okay. So, like, attachment. Attachment, which is assimilating. I go, walk with me. You with me? Then they're attached. They're assimilating. Okay, so here's what. If you accept conformity, like I say do this. I say, when you go show the plan, wear a jacket and a tie. Some people refuse to do that. You with me? Other people, I tell people, I say, if you got a guy that's not dressing good, tell him he looks good, tell him you're proud of him, and then say, hey, you want to go shopping with me? And then you go down to the, what do you call it, the men's warehouse? Yeah. And you go down there and you say, hey, let me buy you a shirt. I got money. All right, buy your own shirt. But I'm telling you, we're going to conform. In other words, if you accept the gift of conformity, like if you accept conformity, like taking notes. I see a lot of y'all taking notes. That's conformity. If you accept conformity, the members, you do what the members do. If you're doing annuities, watch this. If you we say we sell annuities, but some people don't because they're not accepting conformity. If they accept conformity, then the peer pressure. Will, you got your license yet? Yes, sir. So there should be conformity to you need to book appointments. You need to get on the phone and book appointments. But if you don't accept the conformity, you have no peer pressure. So the gift of peer pressure comes from accepting conformity. Does that make sense? If you accept conformity, you get peer pressure, and if you do that, then you don't get distracted by television, or as my coach says, my basketball coach, liquor, women, and drugs. You with me? Conformity and peer pressure keeps you away from liquor, women, and drugs. It keeps you away from jail. It keeps you away from distractions. Does that make sense, Kyle? Yeah. Yes, sir. All right, so watch this. Coach says, son, oh, my bad. I went from, go back to the screens. I messed it up. I was down here on distractions. Let's go back up top. One more, slide back up. This is going to be crazy. Dysfunction, okay? So dysfunction would be alcoholism. What do you call it? What's in the Bible when they're just doing everything crazy? Oh, fornication, huh? Yeah. Fornication. Yeah, fornication. But what is it when they're just bad people? They don't care about no rules, huh? Infidels. Dysfunction. They turn in. You know what it is? Huh? Inequities. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle with no rules. Huh?
No morals.
No morals. Okay. Morality. So if you, I gotta keep this thing right. Conformity. If you like people that are the right people, like if you like the leaders and you attach yourself to them, you don't go into dysformity. I mean, yeah, dysfunction. You with me? Let's go over here to commitment. I got to get through this and I'll come back to some of it. Okay. If you abide by the rules, which is commitment, like for example, if you'll make 500 phone calls, I don't care how good you are, you're going to overcome deviation. Like if you commit to the rules, if you allow yourself the rules, you get loyalty. You get obedience. You see how that works? Look at that. Commitment gets obedience and loyalty, and that overcomes deviation. Deviation is when the parents tell you you don't need to work so much. When the girlfriend says you can take this week off. When your buddy says we can go to a party. You're not loyal because you didn't commit. Does that make sense? So what you gotta do is you gotta give up on the commitment. Say, all right, I'll do it. Does that make sense? That keeps you away from deviating. Let's go to the next slide, and then I can get through this. So external involvement, okay? So if you come to national convention, that'll get around people that are like-minded, and it'll connect you to a routine. And that'll overcome distractions. I was talking about television and drugs and all that stuff. So the involvement, the external involvement, you standing around people, coming to meetings, going to a rally point, contributes to connection. And then when you get in a connection, you get in a routine, and that overcomes the distractions. So getting people to go to a rally point, getting them to come to your house, external involvement, sitting at home in their bedroom does not eliminate distractions. Sitting at home alone in their basement causes distractions. Does that make sense? Isolationism causes distractions and lack of connection. Get it? Isolate, not connected. Connected, 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 routine, routine. You don't get tricked by distractions. It's just a systematic way of doing it. It's getting people to come to hot spots. But you say, well, should I tell them this? No, tell them you want to see them and hang out with them. You're tricking them into becoming a massive tree. The way you trick a tree into becoming massive is you keep all the stupid animals away from it, you put it in the sunlight, and you water it. Hello? The way you trick a person into get rich is you keep the bad animals away from it, you put it out in the sunlight, you keep it warm, you water it, you encourage it. Does that make sense? Like, this is not complicated. If you're doing the opposite, if you let people isolate, or worse, if you isolate yourself, you're going to have distractions and problems. Internal belief. This one gets crazy. A higher purpose. Like, we're changing lives. We're worried about eternity. We're saving families. We're getting people off of drugs. We're keeping kids from killing themselves. We're keeping adults from killing themselves. We're giving them a hope. We're giving them something to work for. I know less than 3 people in the last 24 hours said, I was thinking about retiring, but now I'm energetic and I'm excited. I'm happy to be around this team. I feel like I'm contributing. I feel like I'm going to live longer. That's because they don't have to deal with the stuff that people that are not bound, they don't bond, then they have the 4 Ds. And they become a disaster. That should be the 5th D, disaster. Okay. So if you've ever heard me say, I don't want to let God down, I don't want to let my friends down, I don't want to let Kyle Cater down, I don't want to let Shar down, I don't want to let Adam Katz and Beth Katz. I don't want to let Sarah down. I don't want to let my son down. I got people. That's called guilt. And people say, guilt's bad. Well, I feel guilt if I sit on my derriere. I feel guilt if I'm not working. People say, well, you just shouldn't feel guilt. I think I should feel guilt because the guilt contributes to my moral compass, which helps me overcome detractors. People and other things that detract, that try to get me off site. Make sense? Yep. 4 D's. Distraction, dysfunction, deviation, and detractors. Dysfunction, deviation, distractions, and detractors. Get them away from them. The way you did it is you get them to like you get them to go to meetings, you get them committed to the cause, you get their belief higher that we're doing something worthwhile. So if the more at the hot spots, you can, here's what, if people get, all they talk about is money, but they don't get somebody up that we've changed their life. They were going to commit suicide. They were alcoholic. They beat their children. They beat their wife. They were robbing and stealing. You get people up that change their morals, then people say, oh, this is a greater cause, not just getting rich. You with me? And then you take people, hey, let's go out to dinner. I like you. They assimilate attachment. They become friends. Commitment. We got to go. We said we would go to the meeting. We said we would, so let's go. That makes sense? Those 4 things, what we need to do. Well, you know what? We're going to elaborate on this. We're going to come up with things you do to get each one of these bonds. Jeff Bright, listen to me. We're going to come up with things to do to get these bonds better. Things we say, things we don't, things that turn bonds off. Let's go to the last one. All right. Don't it seem like the tree's lucky? Because they didn't cut him down? Nobody told him this is a stupid idea. I got this agent, he's just lucky. Nobody came along and told him this was a dumb idea. So he thought it was a good idea, and he got rich. Just lucky, right? All the bonds keep people away from the bad luck. Your energy, if you're trying to protect yourself, your energy, I did this for the Christians and the other religious folks. Blessed. I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Okay. You're blessed. How's a tree get blessed? God said, that tree, because that tree believes in me, I'm going to bless him. That's kind of hard to say that, ain't it? But because you believe in God, you got blessed. Huh. That's cool. You see what I'm saying? You got cancer. Does that mean God didn't bless you? It's just, it's luck. It's random. Or is it? What do you think? You think what job get cancer because of destruction? Here's what I think. I think I can't control it either way. If I get cancer, I got to go get oncology. Does that make sense? If I get my leg cut off, I got to bind it up. I got to bandage it up so I don't bleed to death. In other words, what do I got to do? I don't worry about, I ain't God and I ain't Satan. I ain't Jesus and I ain't Muhammad. You with me? I'm just little old Albright out here, just shrinking on down, trying to find me some sunlight and some water, Bo. Some rich soil, some manure to plant myself in. You with me? I'm getting down lower because that's who I am, baby. I ain't the one in charge of everything. I ain't got. So, you with me on luck? This is what I believe. The lower you stay, the less likely you are to get shot. Forrest Gump said, I'm going to stay down here where I don't get shot. The higher you are, the more chance you're going to get shot. Does that make sense? Yes. Lucky. I'll tell you what else. I don't know if this is true, but I feel it. When I'm in Vegas, if I'm going to do some of that chance, I want to be around lucky people with a great attitude that have a lot of energy. Because every time I play with people that are boring and low energy, it seems like I get killed. I mean, I just lose my mind. I'll be like, y'all gonna have to liven up. I need some focus and attention. Come on, give me some energy. Getting ready to roll. It seems like that in a hot spot. I come in there, it's down and depressed. It don't seem like none of the people are excited. Brand new people on the front row say, thanks a lot, I appreciate it, but I'm going to do what I'm doing. I was dying and my other job ain't making no money, but I'm going to stay with that because I come in here, y'all look depressed. It's like that little boy was telling his preacher. The preacher said, hey, y'all think we get poor people to go to church? He said, what we could do is act like we like it up in here. We could pretend like we like it. Others might join in. All right. Christmas time coming up. Merry Christmas to everybody. December 28th after Christmas, there's a lot of people planning, they call it a boot camp BootcampPalooza. There's one in Addison, Texas. There's one in San Antonio, San Diego, Greensboro, North Carolina, Louisville, Texas, Puyallup, Washington, Wilmington, North Carolina, and Lakeland, Florida. And there's probably more going to pop up. Just pay attention to these. The idea is that we're trying to get this thing kicked off from January 1. By the way, I talked to foresters yesterday. They're looking for the biggest year ever from the Alliance, and they're working on their operations. They believe they're going to deliver it to us. They think that it's going to be the year for them. We've got all kinds of great stuff coming. One thing I just posted too on band. Y'all should see it. Let me read it to you. It said, this is what I posted. It says, I'm currently looking for fanatics. Yeah, Chicago says they're going to have a Palooza, BootcampPalooza. There's several more. Put them up on band. I'm looking for fanatics. I need them to reach out to their upline or somebody that's identified as a fanatical. Here's a fanatic. They get checks to the tune of $30,000 issue paid a month. People say, I'm a fanatic. I did 9, but I'm a fanatic. You don't get to name yourself fanatic. Somebody else has to call you a fanatic. You can't, I'm a fanatic. You a freaking numbnuts is what you are. You with me? Like, you can't, you got fanatics, $30,000 issue paid a month. You use ERS. You don't buy $10,000 worth of leads. You get referrals by using the ERS, so you'll be extremely profitable. You don't just get the ERS, you call the ERS. See, you see how you see how this comes back to the 4 things? Yep. All this just ties right back in. We can't have, if you conform to the rules, which is getting ERS and calling them, your profitability goes through the roof. You don't act like you got to follow the rules and you don't do ERS. You don't stay in the culture, then you're broke, and guess who you blame it on? This system sucks. I ain't making no money. You're buying leads. Oh, how about this? Your persistency, your placement, it don't stay on the books. You conform to the rules. Do you send postcards to people? Do you follow up in 90 days? No, I ain't had time to do that, but I'm meaning to. You're dying. Your plant is dying. That's why you look at the plant and you go, oh, they're going to need some water. He's going to need some love. You with me? The fence just fell down around. I got to put the fence back up so the other animals don't eat him. It's the same concept. Okay, debt and money. So you're finding money, you're finding debt, and you're closing deals. You're closing credit card debt deals. You're closing annuity deals. You're doing both. That's number 3. So number 1 is get a check, pick up a check or pick up the phone. There's all kinds of rules for number 1. Pick up a check or pick up the phone. There's people that don't get a check and they don't pick up the phone. There's people, listen to this. They get a check, but it never gets issued because they wrote the wrong policy, because they should have called from the home and figured out what was the right policy. These are fanatics are focused on the basics. The fanatics crush. I thought they write 30,000. That's not a basic. If you do the basics, you make 500 phone calls, you're going to book 25 appointments. You do 25 appointments. A blind hog is going to find a nut every once in a while if he's grounding around on the ground. A person with 25 appointments is going to find a check and they're going to write 30,000 production. But when they write the 30,000, they got to get ERSs so they can write more for free. Got to find credit cards, find annuities, and they got to recruit, and they got to get results. It's not enough just to recruit people. You got to get them selling. So there's you saved you. Way to go, big tree. Got a little tree coming. Got to get this tree big. So you got to find people and get results. You got to get results. That's part of being a fanatic. Here's where it comes from: work, commitment, focus, communication. If I did these separately. You look at those things. The work, I could go right back to it. The work can tie right into, it can tie right back to commitment and dedication, that work. And I got commitment. Well, what does that tie into? Commitment and dedication. Focus, assimilating. Who are you hanging around? Communication, talking, encouraging each other. All right, so rewards. I am going to do a lot. I've done like 3 of these in the last 4 days. I'm traveling. I'm going to put the right people on a jet with me. I'm going to make sure that my guys, that Diane Lampy is, I'm going to make sure that Diane is pouring into the fanatics. We're going to highlight the fanatics. We're going to get the fanatics. Menachino is one of the person. A lot of people are saying they're fanatics, but you look at these posts. Y'all see Joseph Duke's posts that he's putting on band? That's fanaticism. In other words, your numbers are going to tell us whether you're a fanatic or not. Benjamin's obviously going to get the money, you're going to get more training, you're going to get more cash, you're going to get more trips, you're going to get more tips, you're going to get more money given to you. Listen to this one. It only takes 34 people doing $30,000 a month to get to $1 million a month hierarchy. 34 people doing $30,000 a month and you're at $1 million a month. We've done the math on it. You're making almost $3 million. I put on there, shoot, not meant for you. I'm teaching some of my guys to make $2 million a year. So if you are not committed and you're not a fanatic, shoot. I didn't mean to send that to you. So way that come about, Kyle, there's this guy that's been wanting to talk to me. He's in the neighborhood and he's not part of our organization yet. But he wanted to talk to me about success and winning. He's a young guy, sharp young guy. I looked him up and he said, I'd like to talk to you about success. And I was texting him back and forth and I sent him this by accident. And then I went, shoot. So the second part where it says shoot, I sent it, I said, shoot. This was not meant for you. I'm teaching some of my guys to make $2 million a year. And he came back and he said, teach me. And that's when I said, hey, what are you doing Saturday? Because, you know, to then, it looks like he wanted me to show him how to do good on his job. Right. And I don't mind helping him on his job, but I'm a very, very busy man. And I'm a busy man and a businessman. The busy man, I ain't got time. The businessman, I take time for business. Does that make sense? Right. So he said, teach me. I said, what are you doing Saturday? And so now I'm getting together with him Saturday. Does that make sense? Hey, by the way, posting your numbers on band, I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to highlight who's the fanatics. But if I don't have you on the stage, if I can't see you, I can't highlight you. And the way I see you is putting your numbers up on band. And I appreciate Brant Swindell. I should have said Brant Swindell's name about 10 times because he keeps showing up on band with his numbers, and the numbers justify it. Tim Sipe is showing up on band. His numbers justify it. I said Joseph Dukes. And I see Paul. I see a lot of people trying to get it, and they're getting 6 and 7 and 8, and I'm going like, you're gonna have to get 10. You got to get 10,000 a week to get 30,000 issue. You're selling because 30% 30 divided by 40, that's 75%, and usually that's what you get. No matter what you do, the company's not going to take more than 80%. If you get 90%, that'd be a miracle. You ain't gonna have a miracle every month. You might have a miracle one month and submit 30 and get 30 issued, but it ain't gonna happen. The statistics are gonna show you. They're gonna come out. So put your names on there. I was looking at Paul Menachino. Listen, he's on there, up highlighted at the top. 12,500. Boom, yow. 12,000 in safe money, 30 dials recruiting. Didn't get anybody started, but he put in the work. So you can go in here and see who the fanatics are. And I want you to be a fanatic. Now listen, no pressure. Here's the other thing. With the people that are not fanatics, we want to put the 4 bonds on them. Make sense? We want to encourage them, be nice to them, tell them we're glad to see them, get to know them, assimilate, get them to come to hot spots, get them to come to national convention. By the way, the numbers are going up national convention. That's one of the bonds, getting people to come. And by the way, when they come, we're going to talk about the bigger calls. All right. Hope this helps. What's coming up next? Christmas is next week. I want to say Friday. That's Wednesday. We will not have a TWC on Christmas Day. We will have an activity call on the 27th, and I am probably going to be at the Lakeland boot camp. Not sure if I'll be there for the whole thing, but I'll be there for a big part of it. I know we're trying to get that organized. They're happening all over the place. People are texting like crazy. Post them on band if you're having a boot camp on the 28th. I think Leventovich's are like maybe the 29th, maybe doing it on a Sunday. Just keep posting it up. Check band. That's the best place to go. Check my band. That's the best place to go to check for information. And I promise you, more is to come on these bonds. And we're going to get away from the 4Ds ourselves. And we are not going to be juvenile delinquents or adult delinquents. We're going to be big trees, and we're going to go agency manager and executive vice president. Hope this helped. Love you. Out of here. Bye.